Hi, and welcome to the Social Angle, a podcast that helps promo pros gain an edge in the social media realm. I'm digital content director Vinny Driscoll, and on this episode, I am joined by Andrew Titus, the young 20-something president of Fully Promoted, to discuss what it's like to be president of a top 40 company, how his company uses social media to grow the brand, and much more. Andrew, welcome to the show.
Thanks, Vinny. I appreciate you having me today.
Absolutely. Where are you located? You're in Florida, right?
Yep, West Palm Beach, Florida, at our corporate headquarters for Fully Promoted and United Franchise Group.
Nice. What's the weather like down there today?
80s today.
Oh, wow.
Thankfully we got rid of the hot streak here, but it should be cooling off here in the next couple of months. Here, we don't have seasons here in South
Right.
Florida. It's one season. It's hot.
Yes. I have family down there. I've been down there many times, and I know what it's like. I know we go to Florida in the wintertime to get away, and people love it. I'm a season guy. I like the
Yeah,
seasons. Right now, it's chilly and cool in the Northeast, and I love that. I love fall. I love pumpkin and sweater weather and everything that goes with it. So until the
nice.
snow starts falling, I'm a big fan. So again, we're talking to Andrew Titus. We have a lot to talk about today, Andrew. But before we get into the conversation, can you please tell us a little bit about yourself? Brief intro, who you are, and how you found yourself in the promo industry.
Sure, absolutely, Vinny. Yeah, Andrew Titus here, everyone, president of Fully Promoted. I will tell you, the business hits very close to home for me. My father, Ray, started Fully Promoted 23 years ago. So, as you can probably imagine, being a part of a family business, my first job was cleaning this building here that I'm
Oh,
sitting
wow.
in. But done a lot of different roles over the years.
Mm-hmm.
Actually worked for a franchisee of Fully Promoted while in college
Mm.
in Birmingham, Alabama, at Samford University, and spent some time doing that. And that was kind of my first introduction to the promo industry. Was working for that franchisee, and then as I kind of progressed in my career full time with the company, just fell more and more in love with the promo industry and with Fully Promoted of all our companies we have. And out of college, moved to New York City, was a regional manager for the company, worked in developing Fully Promoted and some of our other franchise brands in New York City. Took the subway every day to Manhattan from Brooklyn, and the train over in Jersey and Long Island. Had a great time doing that. And then moved down to Florida. Was our regional vice president for Florida for Fully Promoted. Helped grow the brand here. And was the youngest person in the company history, 37 years company history, to win MVP of the development team, which was a huge honor for me. And after that, was promoted and got really, really involved in the industry when I was EVP of development.
Okay.
And where that was managing and overseeing our development team for Fully Promoted in terms of how are we introducing more people into our brand? How are we bringing in more customers to Fully Promoted? And that ultimately culminated into my father coming into my office about a year ago and asking me if I would take on the role as president of Fully Promoted. And just haven't looked back from there, Vinny, honestly.
So that's awesome. So you certainly have cut your teeth, in the industry. You've been around for a while, and I say that, it's relative because you're still young, and
Yep.
I've been in an industry for 16 years. That's probably more than half of your life. But to me, I feel like you certainly have the background. You're. It sounds like you're a legacy. Your father started the business. You kind of grew up with it, so you understand the business. But it's not like you're just taking over a business and you have no practical experience. It sounds like you've got a lot of experience in this industry, and that's good to see. So you were, this was when Fully Promoted was embroidered me, right?
That's correct. Yeah, it was just at that turn right there when we were
Right.
changing over to Fully Promoted when I was starting with the company.
Right, and so you spent some time in New York City. That's really cool. I worked in New York City for a bunch of years as well. I know that commute. I was living in Hoboken, New Jersey,
Nice.
traveling in and out of New York City each day. So yeah, so you and I have something in common there, and I think probably millions and millions of other people have done that as well. And I don't recommend doing it all your life. A little bit of time to do it is perfect, and I know people who've done it all their lives, and I don't know how they do it. So. All right, Andrew, let's talk about you mentioned last year your father had come to you and asked you if you would be president. So it was we wrote an article about that. I believe it was in December of 2022. You were named president of the 20th largest distributorship in the industry.
Mhm.
What was the pressure like for you ascending to such a position at such a young age?
Well, it was interesting, because I kind of knew what I was getting myself into, but really didn't at the same time. I will tell you, and it was really good to kind of right away get some exposure in some of the industry shows and get to know the people, and that was really my goal of the first couple of months. Really, I would say 6 months is just get to know some people in the industry, get to know our franchisees, get to know our vendors more on a personal level, and see what we do really well, what we can improve on, and kind of just sit back and listen. I didn't want to take an approach kind of as the young new president coming in and saying, okay, we're going to change everything here. Just kind of taking 6 months to listen, learn, and really get to know the nuts and bolts of our industry, because I've known it obviously, but haven't been in it as serious as it is now. And
Right.
so I'll tell you what, it was a lot of pressure, but I was definitely confident that we could do it. And I think we've proven that this year. That I will tell you, we have a great team here, and they
Mm.
help alleviate a lot of that pressure here. So I'm very, very thankful for kind of my corporate staff and my franchisees. They've welcomed me thankfully with open arms, and really taking me under their wing to help and lead, and to be able to lead, for me to be able to lead them forward too.
That's awesome. You sound, obviously a lot older than what you are. You're savvy. You understand that, learning the industry. You're always learning. Listening to others is such an important part of understanding the business itself. Hearing what others have to say, and it's great to hear that. You're in that mode. You're thinking about your franchisees, and you want to continue to learn from them. What have been the challenges thus far leading a legacy brand like Fully Promoted?
Sure. Yeah. Again, it's been a lot of travel for me this year.
Mm.
One of my goals was to get out to as many locations as possible. And besides the states, obviously having close to 200 locations here in the states
Right.
now, we have another 100 locations internationally for Fully Promoted.
Wow.
And so
Okay.
I've done 2 trips to Australia. I actually just got back on Saturday from Australia. Been to the UK, been to Germany, been kind of all over the world this year. One of my goals was to get to visiting over 50 locations, and actually reached that already, with still some trips to come, going to California and Maryland later next month. So it's been I would say that's been the biggest challenge, is kind of getting into the locations.
Sure.
Really, the travel has been probably the toughest, but I will say it's also been one of the most rewarding things,
Okay.
because I feel like once you're in the locations, you can kind of get to know not only the franchisee personally, but also their business, and maybe
Sure.
how they do certain things, and
Hmm.
learn from them, and be able to relate to them. And I think you gain that respect going into their location, their home as well,
Sure.
and feeling them out. So it's been really, really cool, and but at the same time challenging too to get around. Definitely put a lot of miles on this
B-
year.
Before you were president, did you travel a lot or no?
I did, but not this much.
Okay.
I think I traveled probably twice a month, maybe 3 times a month.
Okay.
But this has been a little bit more than that. So
For sure.
I would definitely say that was the biggest challenge, as well as just getting over, with any franchise, especially 23 years in business now. You have some franchisees who've been with us for over 20 years.
Right. Right.
Who have more experience in their pinky than I do, basically,
Right.
in the
Right.
industry. And so just kind of getting them to get to know me, getting to feel kind of, well, my knowledge, but also from the standpoint of me kind of taking a step back and listening to them,
Hmm.
and getting their perspective. And so just gaining their respect there. And thankfully, we do have that really, really down now. And I'll tell you, we had our convention in Chicago. We partnered it obviously with ASI, and it was a great event. We had over 100, and I want to say 170 people at the event there,
Wow.
and it was just really, really exciting and a lot of energy there. So I would say that would be the biggest challenge.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, challenge. Traveling is, if it's not in your wheelhouse, for me, it's not really in my wheelhouse. I travel only limited. But to sort of add that into part of what you do is certainly challenging, especially when you go as far as like Australia and you have to try to figure out how to overcome the challenges of traveling time
Mhm.
zones.
Yeah, yeah.
You have jet lag, and like what are, like you said, Australia. What are other some of the other international places that you've been for fully promoted?
Sure. Yeah, it's really, really excited that we actually launched our master partner for the UK just this year. Just signed on a partner there who's going to be our point person to help grow multiple fully promoted locations in the UK. And so spent a good bit of time there developing and making that contact there and creating that relationship specifically with our master partners. We really, really want to look for someone who's going to be us there, right? We
Right.
don't just offer one location in international countries. We offer the rights for the entire country, and they
Sure.
become almost a corporate there. So it's really, really important for us to nail down making sure this person is a really good fit to carry our brand
Right.
and grow the brand in that country. But to answer your question, it's been the UK, Australia, obviously. I actually have a trip scheduled to go to Mexico next year.
Okay.
Looking forward to meeting with our partner there. And I also went to Canada this year for
Okay.
their convention in Kelowna. We have almost 30 locations in Canada. So I spent some time
Wow.
up there with our partner.
Yes, that's great. That's great. And how many total franchises are there?
Yep, we have around 280 locations now
Okay,
worldwide. Mhm.
worldwide. And nationally, you have I forget what it was I was reading. It's 200 and some in the states, correct?
Yep, yep, about 200 and some in the
Wow,
States.
wow,
Yep.
that's certainly a lot of franchises. So, again, I'm talking to Andrew Titus. He is president of Fully Promoted. If you have any comments or questions, feel free to drop them in the comments area, and we'll address them real time. Or, if we don't have time to do that, we can do that after the fact. Now, Andrew, I have some questions about the industry. You are obviously you're young. I believe you're probably a millennial, correct?
I am. I'm actually right at the cutoff
Right.
right there. So 1996
Okay.
is the year. So right at the cutoff there. So barely making it as a millennial.
Wow, I was in college in 1996. So yes, it's great to see that there are young people in this industry. They're thriving. So I talked to a lot of people on this podcast. Many of them are my age, older. But I want to ask you, from the perspective of fresh, younger eyes, as an industry, what do we need to be better at?
Hmm, hmm. I think from my experience, I think one thing that's really important is for us to nail down our systems and technology. And what I mean by that is having consistency in the way we place orders, but
Hmm.
also having consistency in the systems. And I know it's tough because there's so many different suppliers, there's so many
Right.
vendors, but I think nailing down our processes and how we order product, but also more importantly, okay, well, are we doing it the best way for the vendors? Is there communication between the vendors? Is there an easier way to do things? And
Sure.
so one of the things, again, that I looked at taking over Fully Promoted, again, because we have a lot of experience doing the branding in the industry, is how can we be better? How can we be better for our vendors? Do we need to consolidate? Do we need to create more of an active approach to create better relationships? And so I definitely think, though, that our systems and processes can be better, but I think technology plays a big part in that. And I think we've made some strides in the last couple of years as an industry, but I think there's more to go. I do.
I I love that answer. I think technology is certainly in this industry, in all industries, but in this industry specifically, we have some work to do. We're getting better. Uh, the problem with the technology is now we're starting to see a lot of scams, a
Mm,
lot of cybersecurity issues in this industry, and we really need to kind of lock that down from an industry perspective. Really, take it seriously, invest in technology, and I think we're going to be better as an industry, and of course safer if you really invest in this, cybersecurity, making sure that
mhm,
you've got everything locked down. Now, another question from the perspective of someone who's young: why do you think there's such a lack or a dearth of young people in the promo industry? Now, I will preface this by saying that it's gotten better. When I first started
mhm.
in
Yeah.
2007, uh, it just seemed like it was an older industry. It's gotten younger. It has over the past 16 years since I've been there. But I think that there's more of a push to get younger people in the industry. Why do you
Mm.
think that there's such a lack of younger people in this industry?
Well, I love the article you all did on the Gen Z and the different generations, upcoming generations in
Right.
promo. I think that was a great touch you all did. But I will say I think there's been more of a push recently because if you take a step back and look at it, it's an extremely creative business. It's
Hmm.
an extremely creative industry, and I think as young people coming out of college, if they want a challenge, if they want something that's where they can put their own personal touch into it, but at the same time, it's not something that they're starting from scratch, right? There's
Right.
a wealth of knowledge, there's experience,
Hmm.
there's a lot of people they can go to learn, but at the same time can put their own creative touch on it. I think that's what's attracted more people into the industry, younger people into the industry. But I will tell you, it's daunting, going into some of the shows and saying, okay, this person has 20 years, 30 years, 40 years in the
Right.
industry, and you're like, okay, well, what can I take a step back and learn from here, and how can
Right.
I can give my 2 cents at the same
Right.
time.
Right. I also think that with this industry, a lot of people don't know it exists.
Yeah,
When I started in 2007, I had no idea this industry existed. I knew what promotional products were, but I didn't realize there was a massive industry behind it. And to me, I think it was eye opening. But in the same vein, I was in my 30s. I had no idea this industry existed, and I think there has to be more, you know, uh, of a in- like discoverability, like
sure.
this industry exists. And you mentioned a little bit about the complexities too. The industry is
Mhm.
there's a learning curve in this industry, and I don't know if that's hindering the uh, people coming into this industry, the younger people. But to me, I think once you get it,
Mhm.
and you mentioned the creativity. There's so much creativity, and you can make the job your own. You could add your creative touch to this, being a distributor, and there's a lot of reward that comes with that. A lot of
Well,
satisfaction.
and if you think about it, I was thinking about it the other day. If I just think of some of my friends in the past from college or younger people, kind of in the same situation as me in their stage of life. I've one friend who he had his own heat press in his garage in
Yep.
college and was pressing shirts, and he knew the industry, knew the people, right? But at the same time, probably the majority of my friends have no idea about any of this, and so
Right.
it's funny when I took on this role. I even had some of my people reach out to me and say, "What are you doing? What is this?
Yeah.
What's this?" So it's been cool to educate them on our business, but obviously also the industry too.
Yeah, I think you nailed it perfectly. There are so many people out there who are doing exactly what many people do in this industry, and they don't realize this industry exists.
Correct.
Once they see the light, once they discover, hey, you can become a member of this organization, and all of a sudden
Mhm.
everything is so much easier. You have technology, you have people and education resources to help you, and then they jump in and are like, wow, I can't believe this was here, because
Mhm.
they've been doing this all along. They just didn't realize the industry existed. So Andrew, I got to ask you about social media. uh, Fully Promoted has, obviously, you have a corporate site. You have a lot of franchisees, but social media is a big part of Fully Promoted. So how are you using social media to grow your brand?
Huge part of our company, and I will tell you, we do a lot of posting on LinkedIn. I think
Hmm.
that's a huge platform for us, specifically because we cater more towards B2B,
Right.
not necessarily B2C. So we post a lot on LinkedIn. I do a lot of posting myself to kind of stay engaged with people in the
Sure.
industry and businesses. But also, we have a digital marketing company that we hired that handles a lot of our posting for our individual franchisees,
Sure.
as
Sure.
well as a creative company to create content for them. And
Yep.
so it's a big investment for us. And also PR. I mean,
Mhm.
we have a PR company that works with us, and so it's just you have to put the resources in to get
Right.
the results out. If you want to get a return on social media or online advertising, you can't just say, all right, well, I'm going to post myself. There has to be a push.
Right.
If you
Right.
post to no one, you don't get anywhere really.
Sure. Sure.
It's kind of what we've been our thought process is. So we invest a significant amount of money and resources into social media. Some of the social medias I think are good, but again, from a more individual location standpoint, like Instagram could be helpful. I
Hmm.
probably would say Twitter or X, I would say, is probably our least
Sure.
engaged
Right.
social for us. But Instagram, just because it more caters itself again to creatives, you can kind of show things easier.
Absolutely. Yep.
LinkedIn, some Facebook marketing as well. Those are kind of our big ones that
Right.
we hone in on.
And as a, you have all these franchisees, and I noticed that a lot of them have their own Facebook pages. A lot of
Mhm.
them have their own Instagram accounts, and that's great when you have a franchisee who's really engaged with their social media. You let them run with it. But as the corporate account, I've pay attention to what you guys do, and yes, you guys do a lot of really good stuff. You take advantage of the features that social media allows. For instance, a lot of video, a lot of creative stuff that gives the impression that you guys are really interested in getting people to see your content, and that to
Mhm.
me I think is refreshing, because I see other companies in this industry who have social media presence and they're inactive. You
Mhm.
mentioned Twitter. Yeah, Twitter is one of those networks that's difficult to really kind of get get your
Yeah.
footing in to figure out how it works. But Instagram, when you have an industry like this where a lot of it is it's tangible products, and there's a lot of great creativity, it lends itself perfectly to networks
So,
like Instagram. You mentioned LinkedIn is great for networking, and from a business perspective we use it, obviously to showcase our products and services, and also to show the human side of what we do. Like, for instance, I'm streaming live today on LinkedIn as well as Facebook. And
sure.
this is, to me, I think is a very important
Uh, and
part of showing a brand off.
and I think another good thing too is we utilize one of our franchisees who's extremely experienced in social media and digital marketing, and he actually does a lot of our content creation
Oh, wow.
for
Okay.
for our network, and so it's real stuff. Like, it's in his location, it is boots on the ground. It's from his point of view. He's in Boise, Idaho. He does a fantastic job growing the business and helping the brand with our content creation.
Wow. That's awesome. Give him a shout out. What's
Yeah,
his name?
Garrett Jacoby, thank you. Appreciate
Yeah.
it.
Yeah. That's awesome. I'll,
Yeah.
I'll check him out. So, yeah, to me, I feel like for you to have all these franchisees doing social media on their own, that to me, I feel like that's a great approach to franchises. Like,
Mm.
let them do their thing on social media and have personality, have
Mhm.
individuality. Like, to me, yes, there's a corporate part of fully promoted, but there's also the individual franchises,
There
and if they want to do social media and they want to try their hand at it, I think that's a great thing.
there is, and what I tell our franchisees is you can be as involved as you want or don't. Right? We're going to do a baseline posting.
Right.
Right? Or we're going to do it on your page individually, your
Right.
local page. We're going to do a baseline posting through our digital marketing
Hmm.
company and through our advertising, but at the same time, the best franchisees, they take it and they run with it as
Right.
well, and they
Right.
create, okay, well, local content, because again, that tends to kind of lean into who we are, right?
Hmm.
Real people, real products, real results. So that kind of leans into us, who we are, if you do that local aspect of it. So I think it's good, from a corporate standpoint, but at the same time, one of our differentiators is, we're local, and
Right.
we care, right? We do business with businesses locally in our area, and we want to deliver real results. Again, real people, real products.
Awesome. Well, Andrew, this has been a great conversation. I have one last question before you go. What advice would you give to young people who are new to this industry?
Yeah, great question. Again, I think, again, what I said earlier is so important. If you're young in this industry, I think you have to take a step back and obviously bring in your skills, bring in your experience, but and come with a fresh point of view. But also, like I said, take a step back, learn from the people who have been in here for 10, 20 years. I got lucky having, obviously, my father,
Sure.
having Mike Bruger, who still works for our
Hmm.
company, our parent company, who it's been with us
Right.
forever. So I got lucky having those people, as well as people in the industry and my franchisees. But take a step back, learn from people. take notes, and be the hardest worker in the room. My mentor says, use your advantages over his advantages, right? So if someone's older than you, their advantage is their experience, right?
Hmm.
If you're younger, your advantage is, well, you probably have more time to put more effort and work into it because I don't have kids or
Right,
a
right.
wife or anything like that, so I can use my advantage to my
Right.
advantage. So use your advantages to grow, and you're not going to have that experience, but take a step back and listen and learn at the same time.
That's great advice. And when I first started in this industry, 2007, it was sink or swim. ASI didn't have educational resources. They do now, and it's intensive. And I love that a lot of companies are doing this. They're providing new employees with internal resources and education, even external. Like ASI has the BASI and the MASI, and it helps people who are new to the industry to sort of learn the industry before they hit the ground. So, education in this industry, understanding the industry is so paramount to success. You have to understand the industry, and that's a great answer. Take a step back, uh, take your time, learn the industry, and really, put the education first and the comprehension, and then you're going to be a better promotional products professional in the long run.
Totally agree.
Well,
Totally agree.
Andrew, if somebody wants to get a hold of you, how do they do so?
They can reach out directly to me on LinkedIn, just under Andrew Titus, or they can email me directly. Very responsive. It's Andrew Titus at ufgcorp.com. That's ufgcorp.com. Always happy to help here.
Awesome. Well, Andrew, thank you for your time today. This has been really great getting to know you and learning more about your business. And you're an inspiration. You're a young guy. You're president of a top 40 distributorship, and hopefully that'll inspire others as well.
No, I appreciate it. And thanks for having me again, Vinny. I appreciate it.
Absolutely. For Andrew, I'm Vinny. We'll see you next time on the Social Angle.
Thank you.